Hey there friends, Kagi here. I decided to record a video in this blog format, which we actually haven't done in quite a while. Oh, by the way, my fuel light is blinking. And today we've got an interesting topic. Of course, you already figured it out from the title. We're going to talk about the downsides of the Yamaha Tenere 700. Model year Euro 5 2022 to 2023, but this also applies to Euro 4. Now, we'll get to a beautiful spot and I'll turn the camera back on and tell you the top 10 drawbacks of the Yamaha Tenere 700 that you need to know before buying it, or not, depending on what you prefer. Well, here we are. Let's get started. Number 1 on the list of Tenere's shortcomings is the stock exhaust. As you can see, I already have a Myth Dakar exhaust installed, which is routed upwards. The stock one goes like this, and when you fall on the right side, it bends and rubs against the swing arm. You can see how badly it's worn on mine. The only option is to relocate it yourself. Either move the exhaust up, or you can actually reinforce this plate here. This one right here. You can see it's already bent on mine, but actually it should be like this. So you can weld a gusset onto it and reinforce it. That will solve the problem, as long as you don't fall too hard. The second downside is the suspension, both the front and the rear. For people weighing around 70 kilograms, it's fine, it's enough. But if you weigh more, or you ride with a passenger, then this suspension isn't really enough for off-roading. You need to change the springs both front and rear. It's not that expensive, but you need to keep in mind the third downside. It's the brake pedal. Many people say that the brakes on the TNR aren't very good here. But the issue isn't with the braking system itself. I mean, here you have a Brembo brake cylinder and caliper, the whole setup. The problem is specifically with the angle that's right here. It's about the angle at which this rod presses on the cylinder. It's not designed very well here. Because of this, the suspension has a lot of travel. Right now I have a pretty hefty extender installed, which helps solve the problem a bit. But the point is, the travel becomes really long. It's literally from about here to here. So the pedal has about 3 to 4 centimeters of movement. And that's not very convenient, because it's hard to lower your foot all the way down, even when riding in a standing position. There are options to replace the bracket itself. There's a Camel ADV tuning part, I think it's even called Fix or something like that. So the angle of the lever here is a bit different, and the brake travel becomes shorter. There's another issue. For some people who ride a lot in mud, this area here gets clogged with dirt and the pedal doesn't return properly upward. But as you can see, mine returns upward just fine. The real issue here is that the lever is incorrect. The fourth downside is the seat. To me, this seat is quite hard. I weigh about 70 kilograms, so I'm not very chubby and not super skinny either, somewhere in the middle. But my thighs start to get pinched at this angle right here, and my legs go numb and my butt goes numb too. Specifically, it's my legs around the thighs, right around the butt area. And if you ride for about an hour and a half to 2 hours, your butt already starts to go numb. And this is supposed to be a touring enduro for travel, so keep in mind that riding long distances on this bike, of course, if the seat happens to fit the shape of your butt, then okay, you're lucky. If not, then you'll need to replace it with something softer, maybe wider, something that's better suited for long rides. But if you do change it, you'll lose all the charm of having a narrow seat that lets you shift your weight while riding off-road. Well, since we're on this side, the fifth downside is the sensor. The foot peg sensor is located right here. There is some protection for this sensor, but it's very weak and the sensor breaks easily. Mine is already broken, and I know many people who've had theirs break too. It malfunctions, and sometimes you just can't start the bike, or while riding, it can shut off the engine. So you can make a jumper, just twist the wires together, or you can make another jumper here in the block, which will also bypass the clutch. This little lever here affects it. There's a small switch. Where is it? This little clutch switch. It will also be disabled. And your motorcycle will be able to start, even with the kickstand down, just like mine does now. The sixth downside of the Yamaha Tenere 700 in this basic version is the tank. It's small, only 16 liters, and it's positioned quite high, which makes the bike's center of gravity pretty high as well. If it starts to tip over, then with a full tank it's already a bit hard to catch it, and most likely it will start to fall. And the handling, accordingly, is very peculiar because of the high center of gravity. If you ride or travel long distances, the 16-liter tank is enough for about 250 to 300 kilometers. Personally, it's not a big deal for me, but I know people who worry about it. So if you're choosing the basic, specifically the small Tenere, you'll need to come up with a solution. There are additional Acerbis tanks that can be installed here. They're about 23 liters, if I remember correctly. That gives you about the same total fuel capacity as the World Raid. Or you can just carry something with you. That's also an option. The seventh drawback I would mention is the wind protection. It is there, it's not like it doesn't exist. But when you're riding on the highway, you can definitely feel that this is a motorcycle. You could call it a touring bike, but that's a bit of a stretch because yes, it does have these side fairings, but they don't help much and the wind still hits you. The windscreen's effectiveness depends on your height. I'm 178 centimeters tall, and this windscreen just isn't enough for me. But again, it's uncomfortable. That is, it's noisy, you can still feel it on your helmet, you can hear the air streams hitting, especially on a dual sport or touring helmet, the ones with visors and all sorts of protruding parts. It definitely creates noisy airflow. And your shoulders and arms get cold pretty quickly if you're riding at a decent speed, say over 120 kilometers per hour on the highway. The eighth downside of the Yamaha Tenere is, of course, the equipment package, which everyone already knows about. Only ABS. That's it, there's nothing else here. The ABS turns off for all wheels at once. On all wheels, because this is the Euro 5 2023 version. In the new one, you can only turn off the rear. And for the 2025 model, they've already announced ride-by-wire. There will be 2 traction control modes, but still no cruise control or anything else. In this particular model, Euro 4, Euro 5 2023, there's nothing here except ABS. Yes, there's also this socket, you know, the cigarette lighter. Well, yes, it's there. Nice. For me, that's enough, but if you're looking at other motorcycles for the same price that are more high-tech, keep in mind that this one lacks those features. There's no heated grips in the stock version either. You'll have to install them yourself. It's very, very simple. Of course, that means it's reliable and easy to repair, but still, it is what it is. The ninth downside is the tube-type wheels. Yeah, stop. You don't need to unload the truck. Dislikes. I know that for off-roading, tube-type wheels are better, but right now we're not just talking about the hardcore folks who ride these motorcycles off-road, but also about people who just want to get themselves a mid-size touring enduro from a reliable manufacturer with a reliable engine. There's no tubeless option here. If you get a flat, you're going to suffer a lot because most likely you won't have tire levers, spare tubes, or other necessary tools with you. Both the front and rear wheels are tube-type. You can convert them to tubeless or buy tubeless rims. It costs money, and the first option isn't always reliable. I ride with tubes because I mostly go off-road, and it suits me just fine. But keep in mind, this is a drawback. And the last downside, which isn't really a downside for me, but a lot of people say they don't like it, this whole block here shakes. The camera, the dashboard, the instrument panel. When you're riding over bumps, it rattles. I don't really ride at night, so it doesn't bother me. Plus, since I ride off-road, everything shakes anyway, so I don't pay attention to it. But that's a drawback. There are fixes you can install here that secure the instrument cluster and the headlight, and then they stop shaking. But as a factory downside, that's how it is. Those were all the cons of the Yamaha Tenere. At least all the ones I know of. If you know of any others, write them in the comments. And here's a bonus drawback. Outside the top 10, it's that there's so much tuning available for it that you end up constantly spending money on all of it. Yeah, especially in the Tenere chat. If you hang out there, someone will post something and then it just snowballs from there. You go and spend your hard-earned shekels on tuning. Well, that's just for the sake of humor, of course. I hope you enjoyed this video. It was relatively short, and I hope it was informative for those who are considering the Tenere 700. Keep in mind, these are the drawbacks, and you'll have to either deal with them or find ways to overcome them. That's up to you. Personally, for me, these drawbacks aren't really drawbacks because, as I said, I use the motorcycle only for off-roading. Why this particular one? Because I like it. I have a small motorcycle. It's a 2-stroke, 300cc, but I also enjoy riding this one off-road. It's a completely different experience. It's enjoyable, and well, Those who have tried it know what I mean. This was Kagi with you. Bye bye, take care.